listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Hey, good evening. Welcome to Outside the Box here on Sunday night. Yeah, tonight we're going to talk about a few different things from very simplistic perspectives to try to really drive these points home. Where do I want to start? Let me see. Many of you have heard me talk. Hi, this is Kate. Yes, for all new listeners. Wow, she's got a really deep voice. Yeah, it's my bedroom voice. Anyway, here we go. You've heard me talk many times, and I have had people, sort of ask me about it. The quad. I speak of the quad a lot, which is the fourfold nature of man. And you'll see it represented in, statues with like eagle head, lion head, et cetera, et cetera. You'll see it in north, south, east, and west. You'll see it in, and they call it the news because you knew it for a reason. What's new? You just got to, when? It's the whens. Anyway, what the quad is the fourfold nature. And I use the Phoenician letter, which represents the state of love you need to be in, the T, the capital or capital L, T, with the head bowed. And by that I don't mean surrendered in the way that a physical ego will take it. What it is accepting that you're God. Yeah, that's a tough one to swallow, isn't it? Ego has a hard time with that. That's why it sticks its head up so it can get chopped off all the time. It's called a crucifixion. The fictional cross, right? Crucifixion. The false god, if you will. So when you look at the Greek letter, the Phoenician letter that matches to and corresponds to our capital letter T, you will see a circle with an X in it. Okay? I just like to kind of tilt that around to more vertical to explain this concept. So what I'll get everyone to do this. And it's a lot easier to do it if you draw it. So get your crayons out. We're going to have coloring class again. Remember, don't come to this table without a piece of paper and crayons or pen or whatever you like to work with. Okay, paintbrushes, I don't care, whatever it takes. Because I'll describe things, and if you're drawing them out, now we're playing kindergarten. Now we're playing show and tell, where we get to play. See, here's the difference between being a child and being a grown-up child. Well, a grown-up child, and I'll use an allegory, a grown-up child doesn't have a credit card to go out and buy all the timber to build the coolest playhouse, treehouse. Now, do they? So that's just an allegory. Of course, we don't want credit cards and all the rest of that. It's fictional shite. It's just I use it for an example. So just imagine drawing a sniper scope. You've seen them. And above on the left, you're going to write M, which, funny enough, is masculine, masculine, and of course, on the other side, we're going to write F, which, of course, is the root note of the heart, the emotion. So, in each one of the quadrants, on the F side, you'll do a plus sign in the top one and a minus in the bottom. Same thing with the other side. So what you have is the fourfold nature of man. And the game here is to find yourself in the crosshairs, and it's an energy game. And I'm going to use a couple of examples. My favorite to use has been for a long time, and I think I might have brought it up once or twice on the show. I talk to people about it quite regularly, but I never seem to bring it up. I'm going to bring it up tonight, and I like using a toilet paper roll on the wall, and also the toilet seat, because these are things that everyone can relate to, men and women. If you've ever lived with anyone for any length of time, you will have had this debate, I promise. And if you haven't, well, it means you're really well balanced and you let things be and you don't worry about how the toilet roll goes on, and it's not a big deal. But you'd be amazed at how many people make such a big deal out of it. It's one of these nitpicky things that people have. So I just like to nullify it. So now we have our crosshairs. We have our fourfold nature of creation, not man. Man is an effect of creation. So let's go to the source of it. And the source is right in the center of that crosshairs. So now now that you've got that drawn, I'm going to go to the toilet paper allegory to show you how these energies work. You're thinking, oh my God, how can someone show that in a toilet roll? Well, okay, draw 2 circles. And imagine, put a wall behind it. Imagine you're hanging a toilet roll on the wall, or draw it. And on the one, you're going to have the toilet roll hanging off the front, and on the other, you're going to have the end of the toilet roll hanging off the back. And you're going to see something really interesting here. Promise. Because the one that's hanging off the front, when you bring it around, it creates a 6. The one that's hanging off the back, when you bring it around, creates a mirrored 6. So it's a dual hex. It's a double cross. But I'm going to show you how to center these energies. And it's so easy. And when you see this, you'll understand it. Okay, now, so let's take the one that the toilet roll is hanging off the front. If you look at it, it looks like a 9, doesn't it? It's pretty cool. Well, see, that's consciousness. That's magnetic, divine, feminine source. Remember, electricity is the effect. And what I'm trying to do here is nullify this whole cause-effect magnetic-electric thing to bring it back just to plain old source. Magnetic and electric. Okay, so now we have the toilet roll that's hanging off the front. And then you have the other one that's hanging off the back, that if you spin it around, it becomes a 6. All right, so try to see these energies. They can be both, either or. Like you'll see all 4 directions when you do it with the 2 of them side by side. But here's the thing: when you're pulling toilet paper off the front, the roll, depending on how hard you pull it, will keep feeding toilet paper, which is a representation of the chaos. So that's feminine, because feminine is chaos. That's the all creative void. I mean, nature, left unchecked, will continually create. And for some people, that's offensive. I'm not sure why, but anyway, that's what nature does. That's natural order. And on the other side, when you have it hanging from the back, you have introduced order, or the masculine. Because if it's hanging off the back, it's now working against itself, so it's much slower, more controlled. You actually have to work. This is why guys hate toilet rolls hanging off the back, because they got to work at it, right? But isn't it funny that that's the masculine? So what they actually prefer is the chaos of the feminine. So you can tell on a toilet roll, and I do it all the time, to see where people's energies are. And I play games all the time with people. If I'm somewhere and I see a toilet roll hung in the same way all the time, I'll flip it over just to see what happens, just to see what kind of an effect I can create. And some people just cannot tolerate that kind of change in the universe. So the next time I go in, oh, look, it's been switched back. It actually takes effort to switch a toilet roll back, a lot more effort than just to use it. But this is how stuck and fixated we as beings get in these energies. So this is about freeing the energy. Now, for me, I don't care what side it's on, because it doesn't matter to me. It's toilet paper. The only time I'd probably be concerned if there wasn't any there, you see. So that's looking into the creation instead of being at constant effect to the gimme world, right? So someone that insists having the toilet roll hanging down on the outside, absolutely insists and keeps changing it back to that, is showing their feminine, their negative feminine, right? Because they're using the negative masculine. Well, I'm changing that intent so that I can create without any interference. So they'll switch it back. Now, on the other hand, if it's fixed on the pull from the back side, and it's left there, that is a very controlled, ordered way of pulling the toilet paper off, because it doesn't spin the way it does when it hangs over the front. You run into some friction with behind where the roll is hanging and the actual roller that's on itself. And here's the difference. With it hanging over the front, you're going to use two or three times more. That's a fact. If you have to take it slowly and actually make it controlled, you only take what you need. So, hanging off the front is another indication of somebody being stuck in what they want, especially if they keep changing it to that, versus what someone needs. It's an interplay of energies. Okay, here's another way of putting that. Let's go to the toilet seat. Now, I'm going to give both sides of the equation again, just to show what it is. Most guys, when they go to the bathroom, well, if the seat isn't up, they'll lift it up and they'll fucking leave it there because they're lazy bastards. It's a fact, and I can prove it. It's really, really easy. One, there's a hell of a lot more chaos getting introduced, so it's a very feminine thing to stand and piss. You're introducing chaos everywhere. It's not controlled at all. It splatters and sprays everywhere. Go ahead, ask your wife, your girlfriend, your mother, your sister, cousin, whatever the case may be, and they'll tell you. There's not going to be a whole lot of splashing around underneath the lid and around the edge if you sit down, which is more ordered. And it's actually more natural too. Okay, so let's show the energies here. All right, sorry, I'm just drawing a little toilet because I like my cartoons. I like drawing these. Okay, so here we go. So I got my toilet. All right, so we have the seat down. Now the seat down works more beneficially all the time. Because a guy that needs to go and have a dump doesn't have to put the seat down, does he? Because it's already there. There's no effort there. Bitches and complains because they have to lift the seat up in order to pee. Instead of just doing the same process of, well, drop your pants and sit down, relax, take a load off. What's your hurry? You whiny bitch, because that's what that is. That's the divine, the feminine negative. So one way serves one, and the other way serves all. So that's a beautiful way to show a polarized perspective. You see, the toilet seat sitting down can be used by all in the same way, whether you're peeing or taking a dump. It's quite simple. You should be drinking your pee anyway, but this is just to make the point. Okay, so here's the thing. Always has to sit down. That's a fact. Well, not necessarily. I mean, I got the visuals, guys. It's all good. But let's look at it from just a very general perspective. Typically, a woman must always sit. It's just the nature of the bits. Okay? So when the boys lift the toilet seat, they're saying, fuck you. I'm going to make you work for it. You see, and a toilet seat is a beautiful example where a toilet seat is not needed. It's an introduction of chaos into regular order. It just depends on your perspective and how selfish you are. Now, any true loving man would always make sure the seat was down and would act accordingly. That's an unconditional thing. Oh, I'm a man, I'm not sitting down to pee. Well, no, you're a fucking pussy then. Because that's a whiny emotional state. So actually you're a woman in that attitude. What, see what I mean? Right? You're playing with the energies, so I'm going to try to show you how to find the crosshairs here. And you can spot these energies with people. The more astute will feel them before they even have to look. And that's kind of the nature of me. I sense energies and I feel them, and I know when things are out of balance and out of whack, right? So here, let's look at it. Typically, at least once a day, a guy has to take a dump. Once a day. So that seat must be down once a day for the guy. What's wrong with the rest of the times? Seems to be okay when you have to have a dump. Oh, that's right, you want to stand up and piss all over the place. Okay, well, there you go. Not only that, you're making more work, unless you're the one cleaning the toilet, which typically most guys won't. They'd rather let their girls clean up after them. All the little piss spots everywhere. Go ahead. Well, it doesn't splash. Well, I'll tell you what, after you have a pee, have a look around the edge of the toilet and have a look at how much you did splash that you didn't think you did. It's gross. Okay? This is one for the ladies. This is Katie Bitch Night, I guess. Anyway, point being is that seat is needed down more for both male and female than it's needed up. Because guaranteed, typically women, smaller bladders, will use the toilet more often. It's a fact. So for all you inconsiderate guys, keep standing, keep making a mess of the toilet, and keep bitching about having to lift it up. Instead of taking a couple of seconds, just sit down to have a pee. Big deal. One, you're not making a mess of the place, and two, you're relaxed. You don't have to worry about aiming or anything, boys. It's really simple. And then as soon as you're bitching about the toilet seat, you're looking because someone has decided to put it hanging from the back to make it a more controlled pull so you're not wasting as much stuff. And there's the divine feminine coming in again. I'm fucking putting it back to the way it's easier, and that's, again, there's the 9. There's the chaos of consciousness, and you're using far more than you need because that's what you want. Gimme, right? So there's a way to illustrate energies that are contained within men and women. And it works both directions too, by the way. You can tell an individual very easily by what energy they prefer by how they hang a toilet roll. It's a fractal. Everything's a fractal. So look at the little things and the big things, and you'll start understanding how the entity you're partnered with, or whatever the case may be, you're going to start seeing that energy because you're looking at a miniature fractal of all of their energy. One who doesn't care either way, doesn't matter, and will control the pull-off is open to chaos, open to all things, in an ordered fashion. That is someone who is sitting very close to the bullseye. The one who says, well, I don't give a shit how you hang it, and they don't care if the toilet seat's up or down. It's all good. I just simply go for the more logical approach to things. What works best for all? Oh, imagine that. There's a new spot. There's a new perspective. So if you're doing what works for all, boys, you'll leave the seat down. You'll learn to sit down like you do with a dump, and take a second, take a load off. Here's the thing. You want to, talk about meditation. Well, then there's a perfect reason for it. Not only that, you're actually making life easier for everybody around you, unless, of course, you like cleaning toilets, which I do not. Okay? And I'm sure in the case of your lady friends, they're not really keen on it either. Especially with the splashes that go up and over and start going down the outside of the toilet. That's not going to happen if you're sitting down. Now you're introducing male intent of control and order. So go ahead, stand up and pee like a woman. Or sit down and pee like a man. See the mirrors of the energies here? And you thought it was the other way around. Well, a man stands to pee because, well, shut up. Whatever. That's all about chaos. You're introducing chaos. You've got no sense of control. And I'm pushing buttons deliberately because I need people to see these energies. That's all they are. They're just energies. Okay, so now we'll go back to our crosshairs. So we have the positive and negative on both sides. Now, someone who is acting in a more balanced manner will be operating primarily from good intent, masculine, and good creation, allowing all things, feminine. And the degree that you get these in balance will move you towards the 0 point. And that's where you'll find peace and calm, balance. And from there, you'll be able to spot other energies around you. It's like if a guy is out, let's say someone who is constantly wanting to debate and argue and all the rest of it. They're arguing from an emotional, negative, feminine perspective. And they're putting in a negative masculine intent. So it's not a good intent. It's a bad intent. And bad emotional. And we know how much fun that is to deal with. And why I nullify these energies as quickly as I can. And I don't care to what degree I have to go to do it, all the way up to the point of, I hope you hate my guts until you get it perspective. That's what I mean when I say, I hope you can hate me enough for you to get it. Because once you see what I'm saying, regardless of all the kicking and screaming of the 5-year-old retard, emotional, out of balance, whiny bitch guy thing going on, you'll feel better because you'll actually have a different perspective from a higher point on the ladder. Right? I've been down there. It's good. I decided it's not so good and got up. It's all good. All right, so now let's say, then you can look at this crosshair. Leave it open if you have to and put the minus and plus on the outside. But start looking at people from an energetic quad perspective. How much good intent do they have with good creation to allow all things? See, that's order with chaos, not order out of chaos. They work together because chaos is order and order is chaos. To give you an example of how order is chaos, have a look at the world around you. We've got systems to order things like religion, like governments, police, military. Now, how's that working for humanity? I'd say it's pretty goddamn chaotic, wouldn't you? So there is the masculine bad wanted to create order out of the divine feminine positive. It is in direct contrast with it. Now have a look. You have a minus and a positive. Now let's all pretend that we're bar magnets. Because we are. That's what we are. We are spinning bar magnets. Well, you spin the magnet fast enough and you put a ball bearing, a steel ball bearing above. Let's say you spun a magnet underneath a table or something holding that ball bearing up. As soon as you got that magnet spinning the right way, you won't need the platform for it to sit on. Because if you can lift that ball, and you can do this, I'm sure someone has, the closer you get that magnet, spinning magnet, attracting and repelling at the same time, guess it would have to be a magnetized ball now, wouldn't it? So be another magnet lifting it, right? You've probably seen the magnets floating on top of other magnets. That's the same effect that I'm talking about. Okay, so what you're doing is you're spinning your magnet positive and minus so quickly that they both become the same. So let's look across from the feminine positive and the masculine negative, and what you have are two like poles that are going to attract each other. Now you can start looking at what are you attracting into your universe. Well, to the degree that you get your masculine and feminine balance, your male and female, on the positive side, determines what you attract, and you will attract both, negative masculine, negative feminine. The amount of control you have in balancing those energies out is where you can hold them at the center point, the 0 point with you. Now, if you have two negatives or two positives, they will repel each other. You know how they say likes attract? Well, quite the opposite in creation, isn't it? Likes repel. So you start seeing the interplay of the energies here. So this is what I call spotting the energy game. Spot the energy of the individual, and then by adjusting your own magnet speed and how fast you go back and forth, and you go through all of these, you can use any one of these. Because if someone is a negative feminine, you can use a negative masculine to override that, to repel it. It's pretty cool. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing once you see it. You learn how to control your situation, not the people around you. If you want a peaceful space, then you create it for yourself first, then you can create it around you. You remove the emotions, you remove the de-baits, the of-baits that lure us constantly into these conflicts. It shows up pretty neatly in the Hancock movie. And here's the thing, the closer you attract together in the physical, the more mortal you become. Everything's backwards here. So if we're coming together physically, we're moving apart spiritually. So as we come together spiritually more, the physicals are getting repelled. This will explain trends like divorce and things like that. People that are together for years and all of a sudden they're just not compatible anymore. Now because they're too much alike and they repel each other. Well, imagine, it's like if you have common interests that keep you busy and doing stuff that you both enjoy, well, those are common interests. And that's where you can have two completely polar opposite people that can stay together forever because they have a common interest outside of that. So it makes their repulsion, literal repulsion of each other from an energy viewpoint work. Because they neutralize it with the child called fun and play and all the rest of it. So the inner child is the one within us that needs to be tamed so that it can learn to play again. All right, so when you can spot where someone's energy is, then you can start adjusting yourself to see how you can help them get into the center. So for me, I don't care how negative I have to sound, because I'm just using that energy to see where someone is. And it's unconditional because, listen, if I can piss you off enough to see the point, you win. And all egos have such a hard time believing they're God. Because, well, the ego isn't. It is a net effect of you, the all-source creation. And this whole notion of the ego fighting all the time is all based on the illusion of death. An introduced concept into our reality. Wow, what do you mean we can die? Well, we got to kind of build these physical meat stick bodies, and then we can play this game and experience it. It's quite something for an infinite God to experience the illusion of death. Like it's not going to be anymore, which is bullshit. But boy, do we buy into that one, huh? So anyway, learn to spin your magnet so that you can attract and repel whatever you want. Because when you spin your own magnet within fast enough, you're not attracting nor repelling. You're in the 0 point. And that quad that I just told you about, you can move anybody into anywhere you want. The thing is, if somebody's out of control, this is how you can bring that situation into control. And it's not like you're trying to control someone. You're just trying to control the energy so that someone isn't shitting on your parade all the time. And I make it quite simple. I will either attract somebody so close to get it, or I will become the repulsion of it and drive them away. Or in cases of the past, I'll just walk away. Because I cannot be inside turmoil. You see, that's the nature of my Mayan sign. I'm duality Kawak, which is the storm. And the trait of the storm is the one who sits in the middle, while the storms of the world rage around them outside. So in a literal sense, I am the eye of the hurricane. And that's where I stay. And I direct the storm from there. It took a while to get, through the storm to get to that point. And I still deal with it on occasion, not as much now as I used to, but I deal with it on occasion with people still thinking they need to pick a fight with me, and they're missing the point. They're missing the point. It's an energy game. Because anyone that needs to debate any point is strictly an ego. I don't debate anything. Let's say, what do we got? Let's have a look at it. Okay. I can see where I can improve myself here. Yeah, that works. Because I'm looking for the little, shreds, the little bits of garbage that are still collected. And I think it's a whole lot easier if you do the cleaning yourself. And humanity is a bunch of kids running around, for the most part, treating every situation like the night before the project is due, where they won't do anything until they absolutely have to. They haven't learned the responsibility first in order to become the child. They just want to be the child all the time, and that's not how this game works. That's where the child of God is the killed of God. And they will spend their lives going through letting others change their diapers for them. I think another name for it is welfare or capitalist. Both are non-producers and parasite the system, parasite others. So to the degree that you are helping all is going to determine that. That changes a lot of things for people. Now draw a circle. Here's a really good, draw two circles, side by each. And in one circle, put a dot in the middle. On the other circle, outside of it, a little bit away from it, put another dot. And I'll show you the difference between an egocentric, greedy little bastard mentality who is self-serving, who thinks they're separate from the all, who is stuck in the gimme mode. They're outside, never mind outside the box, they're outside creation. And what they're doing is parasiting it. Not a good thing to do. Now, if you put yourself in the center of creation, in the center of the all, which is where that's your natural state of being, anything that you do to better all the things around you creates what for you? Well, it creates a bigger circle, larger sphere of creation. And those that are little dots of self-serve, the gimmies to take for granted, it's all the rest of that shit, and you see it everywhere, will never be able to create because they're not even inside creation yet. And the more that you continue to help all, guess what the universe does? Oh, there's a little point of consciousness. It gets it. And that circle grows. And then it's going to keep growing until it engulfs not only the circle that you drew beside it, but it's going to engulf that selfish little bastard point of view that's going to get caught up in your storm, your creation. Because now they're in your sphere of influence. And your auric field, your energy that you're putting out from your core, your heart, the true self, is far more powerful than theirs, and they will become an effect to it. And if you are creating positive effects, you are going to actually attract a lot of negatives. It's the nature of the physical universe. Opposite poles attract. So how do you compensate this? That's a push me, pull you. Yeah, it is. So you got to learn how to unpolarize yourself and be the energy to or actress that will repel it. So if something outside of you is negative, they're constantly doing it, well then just, excuse me, well what I do is I just throw the negative back at them. I don't bother with it. I simply ask this. Would you want to be treated exactly the same way as you were treating me? And you'll be very amazed how quickly people will react to that and go, ooh, no, I wouldn't. How would you like it if I was on the gimme side and you were on the give side? And the gimme took everything for granted. Now reverse those roles. And see how they like it. I know they won't because they're negatively charged. They're polarized away from it. So the last thing they want to do is become the positive. It's in the nature. That's human nature. That's ego program. See, but I don't give them a choice. Here's your shit. Deal with it. So that's how you interplay with the energies. And you're not going to be able to play this game until you get yourself sorted out. You're going to have to start looking at yourself of, am I doing this to serve myself, self-gratification? Or am I doing this for the betterment of all? And that is the core principle as far as I'm concerned. And the minute you start doing things for the benefit of all, I think I shared this last night before. It's like I've actually went out and I spoiled myself. Wasn't much. I spoiled myself with a new outfit because I haven't had that in ages. Right? It wasn't anything spectacular. It was just a nice dress. But I'll tell you what I had to go through to even consider doing that. Because when I deal with anything that is donated to me, that is a pure, pure, pure gift. And I will not taint that gift by doing something self-serving. It better be something that I can share with everybody. And it also better be something that makes me feel better about me, to energize me into a better frame of mind to serve the all better. And that's how I treat everything. And it's just a simple allegory of using, a new dress. Oh, good for me. No, good for all, actually. I feel great. It's beautiful. I love it. It's new. It's fresh. And then I, come up with, a few essays and epiphanies. And it's only because of that intent that these things come to me, that these things are given to me. These are gifts of consciousness. And the amount of consciousness you are going to be given access to is directly and solely proportional to the amount of effort and energy you're putting into the betterment of all versus the betterment of, look at me with my nice new car, and look at me with my nice new this, and nice new that, and so that's all vanity. So if you're doing something that appeals only to your vanity, or just because you have the means to do it, lots of money, lots of disposable cash. Well, I'm just going to go out and I'm going to buy this, that, and the other. And, go have a look at your garage. Go have a look at the, storerooms. And look at all of the self-serving stuff you've picked up. George Carlin did a great skit on stuff. Maybe watch that. North America is the only place, and the other places that are still... I saw this in Ireland. I've seen it in other places. But North America is the storage unit capital of the universe. Well, I got lots of stuff, but I need to buy more stuff, so I'm going to go out and rent a storage unit. Have a look around. Look how many different storage. Go to a city and look at all the storage units. Hell, they've even got TV shows on it for people that abandon their stuff because they can't afford paying for their stuff anymore. That's the joke. All my stuff is in one little garage storage unit. All my stuff. Less the computer and a few odds and sods that I cart around with me. The international on-the-air bag lady. So I don't have a lot of stuff. Remember, I told you, the universe dispossessed me of it real quick. And I can't be more grateful because in that, it allowed me to open up my universe to see nothing so that I can see everything at the same time. So the more responsible you get as an individual, responds able, responds to give life back to divine creation, able, that's the all, right? That's the divine feminine, that's the creative side, where the roses come from. The more responsible you become, the more ability you are given to be response able. And that's a feedback loop that exponentiates on itself. And I can prove that we don't need money very, very easily. Because if everyone started working from that perspective of the betterment of all, you wouldn't want for anything. You wouldn't need for anything. Because you'd be working in harmony with nature instead of, harming nature via harm money. Equal and opposite. You take the harmony and turn it into money harm. I've went through my life dealing with this on one level or another for a very long time. Up until the point I said, enough. I've always been able to create one way or another. And regardless of where I've been in my life, I've always left behind abundance, more importantly, the ability for others to create abundance. And that's way more interesting to me. And what I find really funny is that regardless of how much abundance I put out there for others, which is the whole purpose of this table, this show, the more abundance I put out there, I'm constantly amazed at people that come back still asking for more. Do I not do enough? Oh, let me see. Tell you what, let's switch the shoes for a second, and then we'll start to see what the real energies are here. So here's Kate in 0 point. Okay, well, tell you what, I'm gonna switch roles with you. I'm gonna switch positions. I'm gonna be your point of view, and you're gonna be mine. And from my point of view, what you're going to become is this: one who dedicates every minute of the fucking day to this. One who is so concerned with the all, this is the only thing that they do. This is the only position that I can have, which is completely without anything in regards to the system, at the complete mercy of the system, not knowing, and more importantly, not caring where I'm going to be the next day. Now have a look at your little security nest egg, whatever the situation you think you have going on and what problems you have. And I hear them all. Well, Kate, if I don't have ID, I can't do it. See, well, who is free here? The one, I love when people say, well, Kate, if you don't have a passport, how are you going to get... Oh, I'm sorry, the fact that one exists. And whose fault is that? Well, I'm doing my part. I think it's all bullshit. And I know it is, and we all know it is. So why do you do it? Well, yeah, you're playing along with the system. And I'm going to show the catch-22 on this. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Yes, there are some that have, with the benevolent purpose and teachings of all, will go out of their way to do that. And use the tools instead of caring about it. And that's a very fine line to cross. And it's one that the ego very rarely can, because it falls back into the rut. It falls back into that whole, well, hey, that was easy, and then you get lazy with it. But the project's still due tomorrow. So how many of you would be willing to trade positions with me? And you got to be a tranny too. You got to be trapped in a body prison. You've got to live the entire life of the mirror of yourself. Any takers? So why are you asking me? You see, when people ask me questions, they're asking the wrong individual. You need to ask yourself these things. Because I can't answer them. I can only illustrate my life experience, what I encountered, and we have many commonalities in these things, that I encountered and how I dealt with it. And then why, more importantly, why that effect occurred. You still got people. I got word that, apparently Kurt Kallenbach, he got, the Wicker Man and all, won. Yeah, of course he did. And his soul is still owned. He still doesn't have a fucking clue who he is, and I love him. I love everybody. Remember this, whether it's a kidism or not, it's something I love to say. The minute you think you have won is the instant you have lost. Because you're resting on laurels. And they like to do that in Rome, and we like to have laurels and hardy har-hars too. But it's going to be the universe laughing at you if you sit on those laurels. Luck only favors those in motion. The universe only helps those that are moving. Universe, you, the higher you, will only help, God only helps those that help themselves by answering their own questions. What I can offer is very simply this, a very different perspective of the why energetically shit goes down the way it does. And I'm not picking on anybody or anything in particular here. I'm just showing a very broad, generalized view of the energies as we interact together here as different points of consciousness. That's all. It's a fact, though. The minute you let creation take over, oh, she's a beaut. And you will have what you need. It may not be what you want, but I'll guarantee it's exactly what you need at that time. Abundance is yours. You're the only one that's fighting it. You're the only one that's sitting in literal quagmires and thinking you need to fight it. Because I'll tell you, people that get this shit, they deal something up to an issue with a court or whatever, and it goes away. Literally. So if you're still getting feedback, it's not the things that you're sending out, it's your ability to load it with gunpowder. Because you're still not getting the concepts. You still need some mitten strings. And that's okay. The only thing I want you to see is the fact that you still think you need mitten strings. Start looking at yourselves. You see, this is where you're going to find your answers. You're not going to find it in Kate's writings. I mean, definitely I'll give you illustrations of it there, but the true answers are only going to be answered within you. And I know my perspective. I know where I'm coming from. Mine is a benevolent co-creation of the benevolent all. You see, when you get a victory, let's say, of any kind, it doesn't matter what it is, I'm not talking court or whatever, just anything. When you have something that improves your situation, that is where the fork in the road goes. That's where you stick a fork in it. It's done. Nice allegory, eh? And what happens there now is you can rest on your laurels, right? The path verges two ways at that point. And most people that rest on their laurels end up continuing straight through where there's no road. And then they fall down this pit and they wonder what the hell happened. Well, it's because you sat on your laurels. And what the universe is doing is sending a bus your way to knock you back onto the absolutely correct path that you need to be on. And it will. I promise you it will. So don't be resting on laurels. If that were the case with me, I would have stopped after the first shutdown of CRA and never bothered with it again. Never again. Oh, but lo and behold, a few years later, the universe came back to tap me on the shoulder saying, hey, listen, have a look at this. This is like a freedom movement thing. This is back in 2010. Yeah, all the way back to 2010. A lot of people are amazed at that. You've only been in that. How? Well, it's because I actually practice what I preach. And so many people are afraid to practice what they preach that they end up walking themselves into a loop, right? And that's a dragon eating its tail. And I won't do that. I just won't do that. That's settling for something. I don't settle on anything. Pure creation, baby. Pure creation. And keep it going. Keep it rolling. You know why the world is better today? It's because there are many of us that are just keeping it going. We're not allowing it to be anything but a better creation. Well, because we've had enough of the bullshit, you know? And for all the intellectual retards and all the ones that want to continually create negative effects and energies, your time's up. You guys are done. You're doomed. You're silenced. And there's your fork in the road for those of you that still want to play the negative game. Fork in the road is simply this. You're going to choose life or death of the spirit consciousness. Because I assure you, in my reality, you're nothing but a thought to me, and I will obliterate that thought. And you won't have to worry about it because you won't exist anyway. So why would you worry? A thought brought into the mind can be just as quickly destroyed, and that's the all-mind. That's where we are. We get caught up in the physical illusions thinking it's a body and it's this and that. Oh, we got to carry that. That's the game. That's the polarized game that we're playing here. But at the end of it all, it's just a thought. So I don't give it a second thought. A creation-conned thought. No, I don't. That's fraud. That's bullshit. That's not. Get out of my universe. So if you're willing to walk towards the direction of serving all, you're going to notice a very, very profound difference. And the ones that fail to get this are the ones that fail to seal shit shut. And that's when you have to start looking at yourself, and you better check to make sure that your powder isn't wet, or that you have any gunpowder at all. There's not much point in having gunpowder if it's soaked down, because you are jam-packed full of it. The only way you're going to get that gunpowder dry is the paradox of washing it with pure truth water. That'll dry it out. Like one of the allegories in Hercules' 12 Labors, right? This is about clearing the mind. I brought this up earlier this afternoon. One of the things that Hercules had to do was clean out the stables. I think it was the Aegean stables. And that was one of his tests. And what that is saying to you allegorically is this. You have to reroute the river through the stables to wash out all the shit. And that's one of the things I find with people that say want to energetically dance with me. Well, I'm going to check your dance floor. Because this girl in her heels isn't going to go wading through 2 feet of cow shit. Sorry. And I've found very few clear dance floors. Oh, I'll dance with you, but your dance floor better be clear, and you better ask. Because the minute you grab my skirt tail is the minute you're going to get hit with a wooden spoon. I see most adults walking around tugging on mama's apron strings. Not ready, not willing, not able to go and create for themselves, to actually stand. A bunch of children. That's all it is. The adult world on this planet, to me, are just a bunch of retarded little children playing the same game over again. I mean, you went through it with school. Kindergarten, you had a teacher. You know, you get through that. And, of course, the school you were in had a principal. And then you left that school, went to high school or secondary, whatever the case may be. And you went through the same program again. You had teachers and you had a headmaster or a principal. And then you left there to go get a career or a job to repeat the same thing. Now, especially worse for professors. They've never seen a day of real life in their lives. They've never left the confines of the crib, of the intellectual left, and look how brilliant they are. They figured out that, wow, going all the way down to quantum was backwards. Yes, it was. Well, come on back. At least you know where the end of that one was. Because I don't care. You get down to, particles and quarks and all the rest of it. You just keep needing a stronger magnifying glass to keep seeing the stuff that keeps recreating inside the fractal. Right? Kind of retarded, really. Okay, so then you leave school and you go and get a job, a career, whatever the case may be. And there you go. You got your coworkers at first when you're brand new. They're your teachers. And, of course, you have a principal. You just change the name to boss. And that applies in any job. I don't care. If you get a paycheck from somebody else, you're a slave. Not only to another master, but to the system itself. Because then you start creating your whole reality based around a paycheck, because the universe apparently cannot provide what you need. Apparently God doesn't exist. And the measure of the wealth that people collect. Now this doesn't apply to everybody. I know a few benevolents that get this, that understand this, and understand their role in a creative ability to push this along. It's when you find the purpose where it's not all about me, when you start going out to all, watch the reality shift. That's one of the things I've always noticed with me. I've spent a lifetime of people constantly ripping from me. It's in the field of broken dreams. You can try to steal her gold, but she'll give it willingly. It's like I have this open gold mine that anyone can walk in and out of. There's no door, there's nothing. It's just pure creation. And yet the vast majority of people in my life felt the need that when I wasn't at the gold mine, asleep, they would go and fucking raid it and rob it. And it was there anyway. It doesn't matter. It's all about the intent. What was the intent? And those that felt the need to do that was just showing me that they had very low havingness. They had a low ability to create. And one who does not create and give is one who destroys and is a thief. It's that simple. Go ahead, explain it. If you're not giving, what are you doing? You're taking. And this is a game of give and take. More accurately, live and let live. Create and then create more. Because when we're in a position of creating abundance, no one has need for anything. But the ego says, well, I need that Ferrari. No, you don't. You want it. And really, if everyone was driving a Ferrari, how much fun would that be? Hey, I got a Ferrari. Yeah, big fucking deal. Yahoo for you. I got one too. I got 3 in the garage. Your point is, right? I like using this example too. Look at, say, the car you're driving around, or a truck, whatever the case may be. Before you drove that, did you notice the other makes, the other trucks just like yours on the road? Or did you finally start noticing them as soon as you owned one? Why? Because it was in your reality. You were consciously aware of it because you were part of it. Now you start seeing all the other ones around. So, fuck, I never saw this many before. Or as few, or it doesn't matter. It's just to illustrate a point. It boils down to what do you need and what do you want. Great little movie to watch. I watched it last night. I love it. It's just great, especially the squirrel character. This guy was absolutely nuts. A perfect example of unbridled spirit, right? One scene, what was it, Max 6 was the name of the beverage, just laced with caffeine. And this little jitterbug like ran like the wind anyway without this stuff. And the scene where the raccoon character gave the squirrel this caffeinated drink was to make him move really fast. And there was a laser grid laid out on the backyard to try to trap these animals, because as soon as they crossed the line, a cage would come out and trap them. So here's, I think his name was Hammy. Anyway, Hammy, the grid's turned off, and the game is to turn it on because they wanted to capture 2 humans and a bear that were fighting in the backyard. So he drinks this drink, runs over. Well, actually, he doesn't run. He walks very slowly, and you see everything frozen in time because he's moving that quickly. And he goes over and dilly-dallies and hits the button, and you hear the of this thing powering up. You know, it's normally instantaneous, but you hear the delay of the electricity coming to fire this thing up. And then, of course, the lights spark on, and you got these laser beams coming across, and he's just walking. So then you get the whole notion of just how fast this individual is moving. But anyway, the allegories that are laid out in this in human nature, I mean, you've got the reptilian brain in the form of the turtle, right? Wants security, wants safety, wants to keep the family organized and all the rest of it, doesn't want to take a risk, and that's the lower mind. That's what, you hear Dave Icke talk about the reptilians. That's the allegory of what it is. They're thinking from the lower mind. It's not physical reptilians. And this movie and game will keep throwing you the illusions. Oh, well, so-and-so had a melting face and it was doing... I said, yeah, that's all part of the game, to see if you keep buying the same shit and miss the energy and what's really being said. I did mention that we are creative as God, didn't I? Yeah, okay, we're very creative. We'll set up all sorts of traps to see if we'll fall for it. We'll set up all sorts of traps to see if we're out of balance with our energies. And here's the joy of this, too. Once you get your energies balanced, no one creates your reality but you. The things that I want in my universe come into my universe because, you see, I have no quarrel, I have no fight with cops or judges or whatever. I just send little seeds off. Here you go. Love ya. Here's what you're doing. Really wish you'd stop. Thanks. You're not only harming others, you're harming yourself and your kids at the behest of a master that owns your sorry soul. Might be an idea to stop that, unless you really don't love your kids, your family, and your friends, and you want to keep that slave mentality going. That's your call. What you sow, so shall you reap, and I guarantee you, I am the Grim Reaper. I'm here with a scythe. Scythe, the Spirit of God, Spirit of creation itself. And I will harvest you to the point where you are non-existent. And the joy of this is I don't have to choose that. That's your free will choice. I just choose where I direct the energies. Okay, so, yeah, if you get a chance, watch Over the Hedges. It's other than it being blindly fun, it lays everything out. Yeah, the characters. Give you an example of want and need. Right out of the gate, the raccoon character, for whatever his name is, so I don't pay attention to this stuff. I'm always staring at the energies and laughing my head off. But here's a raccoon. The opening scene of the movie, for those that haven't seen it, has this raccoon who's carrying a golf bag, his quiver full of quarrels, if you will, and he puts money into a vending machine. There's one bag of chips left, and of course this thing sticks, and he's got all manner of tools, and he's trying to get this thing out. He's banging the glass and whatever. And then the power goes out, so it's, oh, okay. And then he looks over his shoulder and he sees the bear cave. Now, there's Mama Bear, right? So look at the energies. He looks up and he says, oh, so-and-so's got tons of stuff because they're hibernating. It's basically the Horn of Plenty. So he climbs up the side of this small mountain, and there's the cave, and he goes into the cave, and behind this big monstrous bear who's hibernating is a pile of goodies, bags of chips and cookies and you name it. It's got everything there, just piled up. And he says to himself, very, very aware, said, okay, just what you need. Just take what you need. And before you know it, the scene comes back and he's got everything the bear had packed up on the wagon. Never mind that he's taken all the bear's food. He's taken the wagon and a cooler as well. And just as he's ready to leave, he looks back at the bear to see if it's still sleeping, and because there's all sorts of noise going on. He's been banging around and squeaking this and banging this and that and the other, and the bear doesn't wake up. And just as he's ready to leave, he turns around and he notices this tube of potato chips or crisps or whatever in one of its paws. And I'm thinking, no, it can't happen. Of course it does, right? And I knew it was. He says, just what you need, just what you need. And this typical ego was not satisfied with taking everything from another. It didn't stop there. Because you saw this tube of potato chips and an empty coffee cup and did the Indiana Jones bait and switch, right? Pulled the tube out as he pushed the cup through so the bear wouldn't awaken thinking that something had been taken from it. They rolled a bag of sand on the same weight as the crystal skull thing, Indiana Jones. Sure enough, it worked. And it wasn't enough. Oh my God, it wasn't enough. Just to hightail it out of there. I need it right now. And this is where the universe will always catch you. So after all the banging and what have you, the wagon and loading it up and everything else, what happens? He cracks the lid, makes a little hiss. But the bear recognized that and woke up in a flash, only to see this raccoon, the thief, there's the allegory of the thief, the masked ego, with all his stuff. And then he looked down to see the empty coffee cup in his hand. And he said, if it wasn't enough that you took that, You got to take this too and leave me with absolutely nothing. And then as fate would have it, the cart gets away from both of them, goes down the hill, and stops intact in the middle of the road. Next thing you know, they're thinking, oh, good, that was close. And the next thing you know, transport truck comes along and turns it all into dust. And the rest of the movie is spent where this little thief is trying to trick everybody else into fulfilling his responsibility of stealing all of this food that was destroyed, still trying to convince others to fix his problem. And of course, there's a great ending on it. But you'll see, I mean, you got the typical family of hedgehogs, mom, dad, and 3 kids, and you have the 2 opossums, dad and the daughter, and you had Stella, the skunk, and all of these characters just do such a beautiful job. And you have the turtle, who's the clan master, and you can tell the reptilian brainstem that's only solely worried about food and survival. And first day of spring, wakes up, okay, everybody up. There's only 274 days until winter. We gotta get the food. And then he starts to explain to everybody, look how close we came this time. They were down to 1 great beach when they woke up. And of course, during the whole winter, suburbia was built up around their little reality in the woods. It used to be a full woods where they could get their berries and everything else. They were now just this little park in the center of suburbia. Oh, and it expands from there. It is a beautiful example of the out-of-control ego, the out-of-control energies of us not being able to look at ourselves. And the instant you can look at every one of these characters and say, yeah, that's me, or that was me. And I mean, take a really good look at yourself, because the universe is showing you. Remember, all things for a reason. I've been asked many times, well, Kate, did these people know they were writing what they did? Yes, they knew what they were writing. They just were not aware of what they were writing at the time. See, we're not playing the game of learning how to become all-knowing again. We never left that. We gave ourselves the illusion of not knowing. And we're playing the game of up Jacob's or down Jacob's ladder with awareness, a state of wearing the truth, not selling it. Well, warehouse or warehouse. What to wear and what not to wear. What to put on and what to sell. What not to sell. Remember, the phonics will bring all of these energies into focus for you. You don't even have to look that hard. It's right there. And you've seen it played out in so many different ways. And that's what I've been doing for the last forever. I don't know how long. To show the sounds, to get the phonics. And I'm hopefully getting a little better at explaining these things. But the only mirror you need to worry about is you got the hurricane going on around you. You are the center of that hurricane. And in most cases, people are outside of the hurricane and they've got to fight their way all the way through it, go through all these storms and turbulations until they can find the eye of the hurricane. And then move and let the storm rage around outside of you. And then you start directing it, controlling it, like the true conductor you are. You're directing your symphony. Typically, everyone in mankind, and I say that very loosely, there are many of us that are directing and conducting. We don't have to, because we know we don't have to, and we just get on the magic carpet ride and go. Because all is well, all will be well. Like I said, I wouldn't write a shitty ending to my movie. What was the other one? Hoodwink 2. And it was all about this, the team is back, and here to make sure that every story has a happy ending. Guys, lose the fear. Fear is the realm of the meat stick. Dare to experience. When you accept experience, all of those fears melt away and all of those different encounters start to disappear. And the measure of what you're holding on to will be directly reflected and refracted in the experience that you're having right now. The measure of conflict you were experiencing outside of yourself is directly and completely proportional to the amount of conflict within. You are your own perfect mirror. Are you possessed of this reality? Is that showing up in possessions that you're fighting tooth and nail to hold on to, which you don't have to because it's yours anyway, when you get it? Now the ego can turn around, well, I don't have to do anything. No, that's the kid before project is due. And don't worry, teacher will come to your door with some sort of notice saying, you need to show me the project you've been working on tomorrow. Well, I haven't got it ready, teach. Well, too bad. Your project isn't ready, then I'm going to give you a fail. And in some cases that represents parking ticket. In some cases it represents a fucking whole house. And when you get the energy aspect of it, it starts to get clearer. Me, I'm on the magic carpet, and everything is going to work out exactly as it's supposed to because I know it will. And I'm going to be exactly where I'm going to be because I know it will. In any shape or form, I have no expectations. What does the universe have to offer? Well, it has everything to offer. And all I got to do is start thinking of the impossible things that I don't think will happen, because they're impossible, knowing full well that anything that I ever thought impossible before that became possible totally nullifies that whole belief system into a state of knowing and accepting. Not trying to tell my cab driver which way to turn so that the meter goes on, so I got to pay it to come back. And you will pay the ferryman every single time. So there's that. So anyway, I went on for a bit there. Sorry guys, but I want to get into these flows with you so you start looking at yourselves as the gods you are instead of the meat sticks you think you are. If you're not putting into creation, you are taking from it. And you will find yourself out of balance to the degree that you are taking versus creating. Now, when I say create, I don't mean give. When you're creating something, that's a one-wish grant that comes back and forth in the mirror, right? And it's a different perspective. I'll tell you what I expect. What I experience. Whatever that form takes, it doesn't matter to me. I have no expectations. What's going to happen? I don't know. I'm just waiting to see. It's freaking awesome. Do I still have some trials and tribulations? I don't know. I don't care. But I'll tell you, I'm doing my damnedest to make sure I don't. By cleaning me up. By getting the concepts for me. So who wants to switch roles here? Who wants to give up everything they got to have nothing and do this and still have people ask you to do more? Any takers? I'm sure there are a few of you. And it really is that simple. I don't do this for self-gratification. Holy shit. If I did that, I'd still be contracting, making a damn fine living, but dying. You see, that's the problem. When you're stuck in the physical, you're doing a fine job of living in order to die. Where I chose to die in order to live. And die in Latin means day. I chose to die to be the light in order to live. And as many of you know, I've been through my own little turmoils and trials and tribulations, and have been able to decode them and show them and balance them and get them into a place where, that was a good one, to the point of absolute there's no words for it. The gratitude, the thanks, the whoa, that was awesome epiphany, that if I had not traveled through that in my own form of quickening, which was really, really, really quick, I would not be able to share what it is I've got right now. And like I said, go back to, March 2010, basically, is when January 2010 is when I said, okay, deal, universe, I've had enough. So I threw the business, everything away. I said, fuck that. I'm done. I got too many stab wounds in my back. Too many people I've tried to do great things for. only to have those that you're creating lots of beautiful things for come around and stab you in the back and cut your throat and try to take this and take that from you. So I don't tolerate that anymore. Because what it does is if I allow that into my universe, what that does then is that limits my creation ability. Because I have a spiritual contract attached to that individual or individuals group, whatever the case may be. So no, I have no agreements with anyone. It's a one-wish grant. Someone grants me a wish, well, I grant wishes back. That's how it works. And it's not about being paid in full. It's about over-creating it. And it's not an obligation. I never feel an obligation when somebody does something for me. The only time I will ever feel an obligation is if it ever comes up, well, didn't I do this for you? Oh, fuck, I thought it was a gift. I'm sorry. Here's your steaming piece of dog shit back. Because I want no part of that. Think of how many times you've done that to friends and family. I've done it. Till I learned what it was. That was a long time ago. Am I giving you something as a gift, or am I giving you an obligation so I got something to hold over you later? Well, didn't I do that for you? You should do that. See, that's an expectation. That's not a gift. That's a debt obligation. And you're handing that debt over to somebody? There's no creation in that. That's a negative. That's a debt obligation. And that energy you're going to hold on to, and you're going to hold it over their heads. I had a really, really big example of that in my life. Sue. Here's an individual that and still to the ends of the earth. That's why I love the fact that the more I can get her to hate me, the happier I am, because she's going to get to the point where she's going to hate me until she gets it. And then, oh, fuck! Then it's okay. The energy is balanced. And if it doesn't, great. Takes a few lifetimes. I don't give a shit. But the thing is, everything that I had done for her previous, anytime needed help, money, moving, whatever, place to be, it doesn't matter. Anything you need, I was there. And I got to tell you, 2 weeks in the solitary, gone. Right. All of the parachutes that I'd left and all of the landing places, all involved me. And I'll tell you, it's a really cool thing. If it wasn't for me, she wouldn't have been where she was, she wouldn't have went where she went, and she wouldn't be living where she's living. Literally all three. And I wasn't worthy to have a place on the floor. And I went through a literal hell on this until I realized that, was I truly gifting or was I obligating? Feeling that, well, I did that for you, so you should do that for me. Which is a natural state of being for most people. And that's an ego position. That's an obligating position. So the correct answer was, okay, well, I guess that's the way that is, and okay, moving on. No expectations, that's fine. That's yours. You can live in that, and that's cool. I just hand it back. I just hand the steaming pile of dog shit back and think, well, it's not what I would do, and I actually proved that because that's not what I did. It's what you're doing is completely the opposite of what I did, and that's okay. Good contrast. Good game. But I got to see that blinding contrast in such an extreme way, where the very ones that were the most motivating, so my girls in my life, became the ones that ran the furthest and abandoned the most. Hell of a way to learn, I'll tell you. Not the most comfortable in the world, but that was a hell of a way to learn, wasn't it? And that same thing I apply now. And you'll find a greater peace of mind. And you'll also find it easier to stick a fork in it when it's done. You don't let it persist like you used to. Where I used to go months and in some cases years with people parasiting me, I go hours to days maximum now. And I said, shit's got to change here. There's a fork in the road. Fork in, she's done. Which direction you going? Because I can go anywhere, be anything, be anyone. I don't give a fuck. What are you going to do about it? Because either way, I push the ore out, and I'll create a hurricane for you. Remember, I'm the center of my hurricane, so I just watch the mayhem go on around me to the point where people will figure it out, or they won't. They'll either get it, get caught up in it, and see it, and go, fuck yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying now, kid. I get it. Or they'll just blow away. You know, lost count in my life. How many times people, you know, thinking that, well, I'm going to do this for you. Are you now? What's the catch? Well, I'm going to do this for you so that I can say to you that I did it for you because then you'll owe me something. Oh, but you don't say that, do you? Well, as soon as it goes south, you certainly think that. I don't anymore. I just look at it and say, no, I just don't play that game. Anyway, I got Janet on the board here. Let's get it open. I'm not sure if I'm going to roll into the rollover tonight. But anyway, we'll just see where it goes from here. But I think these are really critical things, very simple things, right? Psi M pull, which is the spirit of magnetic pull. So keep it simple, stupid. Stew pied, you know. throw the creation in the pot and stew it for a while instead of you getting stewed. Anyway, I got Bhindi in here too. Oh, good, yay! So Janet, how are you doing? You're muted,
great.
hon. If you're there, you are.
I got it. Yeah,
that's okay.
Great. That was a delicious gourmet dinner tonight. Thank you.
Wasn't it fun?
Oh yeah, yeah, yep. Yeah,
and
I'm doing great.
I use scientific tools like a toilet seat, and toilet rolls, and a little circle with an X in it.
Yep.
And I talked about movies.
Keep it simple. Yeah. That's my kind of language.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yep. That's fucking great. That's for sure.
There you go. And that's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's got to be simple.
Yeah.
So if you're not putting into the all, you're taking from it. You're standing outside the circle. Never mind the box. You're still in the box. Because if you're not inside the circle of creation, you're inside the box outside the circle of creation. You're fucked until you get this. And Universal keeps kicking you square on every time. You still didn't get it. Watch this. Hoof. Fuck, golf cleats this time. Oh. You know?
Yeah.
You know, I equate it like this. You know, you talk about looking a gift horse in the mouth. Well, that's polite. Then you talk about slapping a gift horse in the mouth. That's a little bit closer to it. But I'll tell you where it is with me and what it feels like to me is this gift horse gets kicked down to the ground, face grabbed, mouth opened up, and they take a fucking dump in my mouth.
You got your head down the toilet again, have you, Blondie?
Isn't it great? Now there's an energy dancer. Both you guys. I love it. You guys are both energy dancers. I love it. I'll dance with you any day of the week. Because there's no shit on your dance. Just tap, tap, tap. I love it.
Good.
So how's Bhindi doing?
I'm okay. I'm doing a lot of graveyard shift, nitty-gritty stuff, you know, staring homeless people in the eyes. It's quite a mirror to be around a lot.
Yeah. I can only imagine, you know?
Yeah.
Now I'm sure. I was going to ask you, let me ask you a little bit about this, because you're getting a bird's eye view of this. Now, how much of that gimme mirror are you seeing out there with these people?
It depends. Some of them it's only gimme, and it's to the bare essentials. It's gimme food, gimme shelter, gimme this, which is for me a natural gimme. And then there's those that are still delusional and don't realize how down in the shit they are, and are still dreaming about the stuff they think they have. So you can get both.
Well, here's a question. Let's put this right in the mirror. So what are all these people doing to create for others, other than the contrast?
Lack.
Okay, well, there's one. That's good. Are they really, really happy in their lack?
No, they're wallowing in it. Some of them are. Some of them are disappearing into religion. that there's some god punishing them for the place they are. Some of them are playing out of their mind, and others are professional vagabonds who love being nobody.
Parasites. They love being parasites.
No, they're not. The real vagabonds.
Oh, okay. I know what you're saying now with the vagabond. Yeah, the ones that are just playing.
Exactly, the ones that are not a name and not a game and not a place, but are a being free.
Yeah, they're playing the game on their terms, and you see, I can totally have that because that's someone that is giving to all because they're not taking from it.
Exactly.
So there's a perfect mirror. You will see it in everything, everyone, every game.
Yep, you get all colours in the homeless trade. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Now, in terms of the vagabonds, the true journeyers, the true experiences, and you never know who these people are. By the way, this is the interesting thing. The ones that are because what? Yeah. Well, they're in a lot of ways the true vagabond that's just showing this is the one that knows that all is well. And they're just playing this game to see if they can mess with people. Right? Yeah,
most of them are that clear about being detached from everything that they, to me, they're close to exit. Kind of like, I'm done with this game, I'm doing this one more time, pay attention. If you're not, bye-bye, zap. And, and there's the other end, the babies that are here and trying to manipulate the world from the greatest vantage point of being a victim. So you get the whole chessboard.
Okay, well, here, let's have a look at the ratios. I'm going to bet that there's fewer vagabonds.
Yeah, exactly.
Like exponentially fewer vagabonds.
They're the pills in the shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're the ones that you get to go, oh, okay, now I know why I'm doing this, and you see, you get to see such a beautiful contrast in the same area from one who knows who they are and they're just kind of playing the game, and this is fun, I'm going to do this, I'll get a shopping cart, and I'm just going through life and seeing what I can live at, what level I can live at, knowing full well I'm going to survive, but to see the experience of going through that is a beautiful point of consciousness.
Yeah, Rolling Stone gathers no dust, right? Or moss.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah.
And in the complete mirror.
And they singled me out too, because all they have to do is look in my eyes and see basically the same thing.
Yeah. It's funny how you attract that, isn't it? Now, let's go on the other side of the spectrum. There are countless wealthy people and very few vagabonds in that realm. And I think that's going to be probably the best way to be able to describe this now, in that you have a very, very few vagabonds, true vagabonds, that are just in the experience with greater, in terms of the material world, greater means. But they're both, to me, they're both the same. They're both living the game and using the tools instead of being used by the tools. So a vagabond is using the tools of their own creation, knowing that it's all good, and I'm going to go around and you don't know you don't know who I am. I'm that angel, but I'm just keeping an eye on the rest of these guys to show them that there is strength within this. Again, pillars. You said pill within the what was it? Pill within the shit, right? So there's pearl. Sorry, there's the pearl that is far and above separated from the shit to show the shit, the contrast. And then you have the vagabonds in the wealthier realms showing the rest of the victims that are tools of their money, what they can do with it. So it's a beautiful, diametrically opposed, perfect balancing of the crosshairs. I love it.
Yep. And it's for me, the most integrate way to balance the fine line of being in a form of service for something bigger than myself, but also being able to, keep my own pants up, pay my own way, sort of slightly still in the system, to the degree that I need to be, not what I would, because I've realized that there aren't really much real needs. There's a lot of illusion of need, and we can trick ourselves into thinking we need stuff, but there's when you cut yourself off from it all first. There's
the paradox of obligation, right? And what exchange is. I'm going to show you why exchange is pure poison. Because I'm doing this for you, so you have to do this for me. That is creating obligation between points of consciousness. You see, when you start doing things simply from the fact that you can, that's where it separates. That's where the wheat and chaff separate.
Yep.
So if you feel you need to exchange something, well, I'm going to do this for you. You want me to do this for you? Well, then you got that for me. Is the fucking most selfish, most destructive frame of mind you could be in.
Yeah. I remember a teacher of mine used to say, when you feel the need to do something, lie down and wait till it goes away. If you feel you want to do something, get off your ass and run.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much a guide for me. For a lot of things.
It's like walking up to someone and just doing something because you can. See, that's music for me. People ask me about music and whatever, and I said, why do you do it? Well, I don't do it because I have to. Because I can tell you, being an original artist, you get the gigs, but you're not getting the same as cover bands. And here's the joke of cover bands, okay? No harm to anyone that does it. Great, I love it. But I'm going to give you a different perspective. I've done covers, but my mainstay is as a creator or writer. So I have that as my root source instead of my somebody else's creation being my root source. So, give you an example. If someone spends their lives, there's musical friends of mine. I used to call those jobbers. They're just jobbers, right? They're out. They're making a living. They're not making music. They're making a living. It's different. They're making a living by making music, and typically it's preying off the energy of a hit song that everyone loves to hear. That's why bars have to pay royalties, to these things and what have you.
Tailcoat success, call that.
Well, it's a tailcoat. Yeah, you're riding the tail. Someone else's dragon tail, Tale. Someone else's story.
Yeah.
Okay. So
never get out of.
Well, yeah, you get circular on it, and that's one of the things I noticed after being in original music all my life and getting into cover bands. And it was always a difference. Now, here's the thing: a jobber, someone who just primarily does covers, never bothered to be an original creator, to do it on their own, where someone else has blazed that trail. And I had lots of musical friends like this. Right? What they were doing was, if the one that created the hit song didn't write the hit song for you to play, you wouldn't have a job. So don't bitch about what you're getting paid. Go and create something. And this is a fractal, one fractal of everything, the way everything works. It's an exchange. What are you creating and what are you taking? So if you're primarily, and I had a lot of guy and girl friends that were primarily of the cover band scene, and were quite talented. Some of the most talented people I knew did that, were jobbers. And I could always tell they were jobbers because their music always reflected it. Because I could always tell what song they were copying, either lyrically, melodically, and most definitely instrumentally.
Yeah.
Because you can hear.
And when you did join one of those cover bands just for fun, and you broke out and did a solo, they all flipped.
Well, that's the thing. And that was a lot of the guys that I had playing with me, and girls. They had been involved as jobbers and whatever, and they absolutely loved it because it was a new creation that they could put into that creation themselves, and it was coming from a completely original perspective. I learned. I'll tell you why I learned to write, because one, my vocal didn't fit for most of the tunes going out there. My particular pitch, my key, where I sing, is different than where mainstream is. I can play the same 3 chords and not sing the song because it wasn't in that particular set of chords. Although I write in all chords, wasn't in the key or the pitch that I'm comfortable with. Right? So getting back to why, well, I'll tell you, I didn't play because I had to. I would have starved. I had an outside. People ask me, why do you work? Well, it's to support my musical habit. That's all it was. And I didn't play because I wanted to. Stage terrified me. Oh, yeah, it was fun. But I really didn't like that feeling all the time. So it wasn't out of sheer want to do it. Oh, I want to be famous. No, I want to be the opposite. I was, I remember sitting on the curb. My friend's dad came up and he says, oh, you're pretty good at that. You should think of doing that. So I'm thinking, thanks, great. So I did. And here we are. I didn't do it because I wanted to. I didn't do it because I had to. I just did it because I could.
Yeah, same works for me for painting. If I did have a job, it was purely to buy paints and canvas, and if I couldn't afford that, I'd be making it from all kinds of stuff I'd find around me, or there'd never be anything to block me in doing this. That is the difference too. If I'm doing it because I have to, it's like having to climb a mountain every time, but doing it from a place of passion, from a place of wanting to and being able to, it never runs into snags.
And this is where commerce gets in the way of creating.
Yep.
Because everyone hinges creation on exchange, which is debt to others.
Yep.
And that stymies creation itself. So not only those use the canvas, I use the instruments, and others use dance and whatever. In order for us to be able to do that, we have to literally fight our way through commerce to keep that dream alive to the point where it can sustain itself, and then it's a sellout to the setup.
If you get trapped in their game, you're more than not explaining and defending your existence instead of just being an artist.
Exactly.
And somebody that thinks you're actually a pariah, when I'm thinking, well, I see it the other way around. I'm doing something original, and you're repeating yourself, and actually it's someone else's shit you're repeating. So, and you're making more money than me. So what? Don't tell me this is real.
Who's parasiting who? And when you really put this in the mirror, you start to see where the parasites are and where the obligations and debts are. So when we go at things from the perspective of service to all, if everyone had that perspective, think about it. If we were doing things in service to all, just giving because we can, not because we have to, not because we want to, just because we can. That's what creation is.
Fun, yeah.
Then it's fun, and everyone, if everyone wanted Ferraris, then there'd be enough people there putting these damn things together for people, and then we'd all be bored with the same thing. Right? But there's no price tag put on it. You're priceless, and everyone puts a price tag. Well, I'm worth $10.50 an hour. I'm worth $200 an hour. I don't care how much you think you're claiming per hour. You are no longer priceless if you have a price on your head. You are wanted, dead or alive, in this universe. Mm-hmm. You hang your own poster on your head, Jesse.
Yeah, that's why most of my fellow friends and fellow artists always think I'm a nutcase, because I give away a lot of my paintings, and they say, what the hell are you doing it for? So, I can sit here and wait for it to sell, let it gather dust, or give it to somebody that is as happy as a kid with it. It's getting exposure in someone's living room, and it's actually doing its job instead of collecting dust. Yeah, and I really do not get that.
Yeah, instead of it being a commodity, it becomes a marketing tool, So, yeah. And again, there we go back to the commerce, So, really, it's, and I'm going to go back to this thing that I read earlier. It was in here. Let me just, I'll read the actual quote. Where is it? All right. Now, in case you're not aware, Kurt got full, quote, success for his wife dealing with state court attack through DNA and Wickerman copyhole claim. Okay, can I ask you guys, what did he win?
It pretty much sounded like gibberish, so I don't think you won it.
I'm going to tell you what he won. He won the right to be a slave, thinking that he's not.
Great.
Do you want to know how you win this game? It's when you're not dealing in the meat stick any longer. In the twinkling of an eye, it's like, ooh, there we go, new game.
Yeah, when you're at the 0.
Mm-hmm. So that just tells me, the other point was the court dissolved the attack on Toto immediately, fully in the private. Well, yeah, if they can't get you in the public, they'll take you into the private and rape your ass.
Yeah.
And they'll they're so nice when they throw knives in your back. Oh, good, look, you win your little money thing and this, that, and the other, but we still own your soul, stupid. And they'll let people wallow in this until the next one comes up, and they'll think it's going to work again, and it doesn't, because this is what creation's doing. It is removing... Here's what it is, boys and girls. The nest that you have been sitting in at Mama has been, look, that nest is crumbling around you. So you better learn to fly by yourself, or, like I've said, you don't want to be the mother... You want to be the mother bird, and be one of the chicks getting kicked out of the nest. If you're not ready to fly, well, nature says you're going to hit the ground. Okay, hit the ground. Or you learn to fly now. You jump out of the nest yourself, because hell or high water, eventually, in the fractal of time, Mother Robin kicks all of her chicks out of the nest, and yeah, some of them do tumble to the ground. That's nature's way. And nature will get rid of the garbage. You just got to let her.
Yeah, that's what keeps it beautiful.
Well, let nature take its course.
Yeah, stop fighting the flow.
Oh, yeah.
So
you know,
the flow. Yeah.
You know? Well, we got about 15 minutes till, and I think we'll just roll out at the top of the hour here. I think we said what we needed to, without belaboring the point.
Yep.
You know.
Nutshell Sunday, right?
Yeah. So have a look at your bathroom and see which way your toilet roll's hanging, and if you were the one that put it on last, that will tell you what energy you're in. If you hang it over the top, then you're in the feminine mode of chaos and creation. Woohoo! And if you put it on facing the wall, you are more intentful in the masculine sense of control, where creation is more ebb and flow, right?
Yeah.
I will show you the good and evil in the masculine and the feminine, because it exists in both as the one.
Yeah. You know what my science teacher used to say about the whole toilet roll chicken or egg debacle? He said people that hang the roll over the front are collecting airborne bacteria. Those that hang it on the back are collecting the bacteria on the wall.
Yeah, it's a catch-22. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter. You're getting bacteria anyway.
Yeah. See, for me, the difference is the amount of toilet paper you go through. And I was talking with Sheila earlier. She was saying about, people in hotels, whatever. They always noticed that anytime someone who was rich was in the room, they were replacing the toilet rolls left, right, and center, because they had no sense of control. They were completely caught up in the waste world because they were used to it in a disposable society. North America is the most blatant throwaway, disposable, trash the planet society on this earth.
Yeah, Europe a close second. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Australia too. I mean, that's this whole Western mentality. People are waking up to it. Yeah. Everyone's too busy pointing into somebody else's backyard. Look what you're doing. Well, clean up your own fucking mess. Time for you to get that river rerouted through your shit-filled stables, Herc. Up the shitter, Herc. Up the shitter. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. You remember the cartoon.
That's why I used to gravity next to all the billboards with the new mobile advertisements. I'd put my own advertisement next to it saying, "You are now contributing to landfill," and just left it there. That's basically what we're doing. We're buying shit that becomes landfill, and then you think, why is my garden not growing? Because you're living on top of landfill. Yeah, sticky little houses, all the same boxes, ticky-tacky boxes, yeah. There's a brilliant song about that. Which one was it again?
Yeah.
All the houses on the hillside made of ticky-tacky, yeah.
Yeah.
So again, just have a look around. I mean, in your own life and see where you're replacing your labor with someone else's and paying the price for it. Not only that, the packaging and all the rest of it that comes with it. The more labor goes into something, the more packaging there is. Fact.
Shit. The more machines involved, the more shit there's on it and in it.
Yeah. So here it is. If the system, society can make it easier for you, it's going to create, 1, more cost, 2, more landfill. Fact.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, there's just so many things that people just need, simple little things that people need to have a look at. It doesn't take much. No. But it takes a scathing mirror, and that's the one you own.
You don't even have to leave your house to see where your life is built up of the illusion that you've done it yourself.
Yeah. And see, for me, the amount of weight that I carry around in terms of energies or whatever always translates into my immediate surrounding.
The less stuff, the more freedom.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Does get tiresome. All right, Jude, it'd be nice to, have a place just to call home, and then I'm going to be even more potent, guaranteed.
It's having the choice that's the clue, isn't it? Because being homeless is not fun, but being stuck and bogged down with cack around you from years and years of not being aware of yourself. Neither place is, I'd say you don't want to live in the extremes. It's always about the world of dualism. Dualism is that dysfunctional that all you're looking at is either the one extreme, the end of the wall, or the other. And I'd rather be swimming in the middle somewhere. And that's neither bogged down, neither totally free, because they're both dysfunctional.
Yeah, I equate my energy very simply. And we've got Barb coming in here. Just give me a sec, Barb, and then you can roll out the show here. For me, it's simply this. When you are the center of the storm, the eye of the hurricane, think of it like a wall. And I am a wall that you cannot get over, you cannot get under, and you cannot go around. There is only one way, and that is to go through. And the only way you're going to, and this is where I come back to the Bible, no one gets to the fa root note of creation itself except through me, magnetic electric. I guarantee you, the only way you're going to get through me is to be weightless. And that's to get the notion, because that energy evaporates, then it passes through because it doesn't exist. It's just pure resonance. So here's the thing, as I move forward, and something or someone gets in my way, well, you know the options now. I'll steamroll you. Or you'll get it and you'll pass right on through. Either way, I win. Because one, I've either destroyed an energy that is not for the betterment of all, or two, that energy has recreated itself where it is the benefit of all. Win-win.
Yeah.
You win, I win, we all win. So there you go. Barbara.
Yes.
Hey, baby love, how are you?
Very well. I am thinking about the parallel environment that they say that we are experiencing. You know how some people say that, that what's on this vision, what's visible is also invisible. Is that does that fit in with your mirror?
Well, yeah. See, that's the thing, and that's the part of the Sagittarius that we all have to deal with. While the Sagittarius says "I see," well, you have to say "I don't see," and if you don't see, what are you looking at? You're looking at something that isn't there. And I prove this very simply. Does infrared exist? Does ultraviolet light exist? Yes. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. And the ultraviolet and what have you, to me, is I just equate that to the spiritual. And that you will only find through the heart. You see, spells go through the eyes and the mind. Sounds go through the ears and the heart. When you are hearing things properly, breaking the spell, now you're dealing with the heart, and that's where your epiphanies are. They don't come in the head. It's like that whoa moment. It's a full explosion of light moment. Slight difference, but yeah, again, and look at everything as it's reflected. You see, everything in the physical world is the effect, not the cause.
Right. Okay. Magnetic is the cause, right?
Yes, that's the absolute silence.
Okay.
And everything in the material world is the effect of that creation. And what do we have? A planet full of people walking around trying to be cause while being fully effect. And how's that working? Oh, it's a good game for a while.
Well, it's good. Being that everything was ruled by the men for so long, do you think that has an effect on why everyone is walking around looking like that since the man has been under powerful control? The patriarch system has been there of much control, ignoring the matriarch systems.
Well, see, that's the thing. They're not separate to me, right? What we're dealing with is an out of balance energy here. So let's have a look at it from this perspective. You see, what we're dealing with in terms of what you just described of the polarities of the both opposites was typically indoctrinated through religion. Like, the wife must be subservient to the husband. And, the literal, that's a literal translation where what it's saying is a mystical thing, that the emotions must be subservient to the mind. Get a grip on your emotions, right? Because I can show how much I can show that a SWAT member team or team member is in the absolute lowest of masculine feminine energy. It's an emotional, what is it? My band of brothers, I'll die for you and you die for me, and oh my God, we're just fucking awesome, and these guys are taking bullet after bullet. I don't know if you saw Lone Survivor. It's a prime example of that rah camaraderie thing.
Well, yeah.
Which is pure divine or negative feminine, right? It's that lovey-lovey, different kind of love, and of course, then you have the negative intent of, let's go kill people so they shoot us back so we can go, oh, I love you, brother. You fucking retard.
Bite the bullet, love.
It's like, let's go kill something so we can die and prove that we're emotional meat sticks.
Go out and die and prove you're dead. Oh, you already were. Bye.
To me, the biggest pussies on this planet are the ones that are pumping steroids, 6'5", and want to go out and kill things. Completely out of balance. But I'm protecting. Yeah, and they'll use the I'm protecting. It says you have the illusion that you need protecting first, you dipshit. Who sold you that? Well, the military, and I don't care what country you're in. I don't care what military you're in. You're all a bunch of fucking murderers. End of story. And you're doing it at the behest of another point of consciousness being created in their image, you idiot. Yeah, no, I don't pull any punches. Why? Because it's true.
I just realized. Well, go ahead. Since it is a branch of our lifestyle to have a military, and that we got so many people involved in it, for whatever reasons or whatever circumstances, those people that are involved are also sons and daughters and mothers and fathers, and they too, cannot be counted out. Because this is it's a job. I mean, we're in a capitalistic society, and there is work that must be done. And to them, that's a job. This is a job that life situations have put them in to have to fulfill in order to have.
See that to me it's all psychopath anyway. Because a serial killer going out killing people to make a living is the same thing to me. And that's all. You can put any bow you want on cops and military and all of these people walking around with guns, killing others. They're living in the illusion that there's danger that was created for them, that they bought into. So it's all bullshit. I don't care if you work for for bullet manufacturers or plane military, whatever. If you're involved in the tools of war, you are a psychopath. You are a psychopathic serial killer, aiding and abetting the destruction of humanity under the guise of some flag, and because someone that you've never met said that someone else is your enemy that you've never met, and you go, fucking hey, let's go kill some shit, man. And then you expect that things are going to be okay? That's insanity.
Well, what about the people who's responsible? Look at the people who make the uniforms, the seamstress, and the ones that are contributed. They're considered in the contribution of hired killers, the seamstress.
They're all a bunch of mercenaries. I don't care if you were doing something and you were training your soul energy, aiding and abetting anything involved in the military and the harming of others, which is a complete fucking fabricated illusion. How many centuries of murder, death, kill do we have to play for people to wake up to this? But don't worry, natural born killers.
Yeah, natural law, do no harm. Everything and anything that directly or indirectly aids in doing harm is complicit by association. Simple as that. Just because it's an order doesn't mean you are not responsible for the carrying out of that order. Yeah, but he told me to shoot. Yes, so what? You pulled the trigger. It was your decision. You didn't have to. You could have put the gun down and walked away. The seamstress doesn't have to. So she can get up and get another bloody job. We're done. This gets me riled a bit. A little bit of ego coming through, but everything in me screams. Anybody that wants to do harm really needs to wake up, because they haven't got a clue what their responsibility really is. They've been delegated to someone else, and that is the same crap as they've been delegated to them. It's my order. No, you've just ordered back that I am not responsible even though I shot you. Fuck that.
Absolutely.
I have no sympathy, neither empathy for any of it anymore, because we don't learn from history. People have only shown you can't handle a gun. Yeah.
And hey, I love rattling cages, especially ones of veterans benefits and all the rest of it.
Yep, benefit my ass. You're killing
tell you what,
collecting the money from him. Fuck that.
And what you're getting is the mirror of your creation. What you've agreed to be in spiritual contract with. You are a contract killer. If you join any of these organizations under the guise of protecting. And I'm going to tell you, well, what about all the drug lords? Well, I'll tell you, see, it's the government organizations that keep that where it is. I'll tell you, when pot is growing everywhere, who's going to be selling it? If somebody wants to make coke and blow their brains out, knock themselves out. That's the problem with legal, man-made stuff. Let nature take its course. If somebody wants to shoot up heroin and kill themselves, then have at her. That's your choice. I'm not going to trespass on that.
But I'm not going to clean up your vomit after either.
No, I'm going to take you down to the dumpster and throw you where you belong.
Laugh my ass off when you can't sober up and think, let's not do that again.
And that's it. If points of consciousness, people want to go out and kill themselves by doing harm to themselves, well, they're just going to come back and have to replay the same game again anyway until they figure it out. So I don't care. So take whatever time you need. But here's the thing about consciousness right now, especially those that are in contract as spiritual killers. And that's what you are if you're any part of that. And that includes bankers and people that work at banks and all of this. This is all aiding and abetting in the same disaster. You better change your contracts. You better change your intent. Because here's the joy of this. You're going to be non-existent anyway, so you got nothing to worry about, because you won't be anything to worry about. You won't. It will be as if you never were. Blink. That's what I do with bad memories. I look at them and no, there's no energy left there, and it's dead. No energy, no life. No life, well, no existence. And we're the ones that keep bringing these things to the table. We're the ones that keep bringing these items to look at. You got to look at these things, and they're not easy. But that's the game. Once you understand where the energies are out of balance, please tell me, if someone that you only see on a TV orders you and your army unit to go off and kill people that you only saw on a geography book because they said this and that and the other, and you go and do it, you're an idiot. You're the same guy that says, yeah, damn those Iraqis bombs. This is what, I guess you've been there. Excuse me. Well, no, they're all evil Muslims, and you've lived there, so you know this. Oh, no. Well, where'd you get your information? The same place every other fucking monkey gets it. CNN. So, were you there?
Now, what about the brainwash? Yeah, the brainwash. What about those that are the mind controllers, like the children that that we have known or have heard have been harassed and molested, like our Drew Barrymores and people like that? Now that they have grown up and have found, to me, it looks like love was the missing item in their life. But it seems like now that it's in their life, they're living a normal and a happier life that they explained that they had as a child.
Well, hon, I got to tell you.
Are they?
You're talking to one right now.
All right. Well, you lift it up. Isn't your life happier now than ever before?
Because I can see the contrast.
Maybe not ever before.
Oh, of course it is. It's happy.
Okay.
Here, that's the joy of this. When you have the awareness and the knowing, you know that all things will transpire into a beautiful ending anyway. How can you not be happy about that? Knowing that's coming. It's like waiting for, you've got a banana split of amazing flavors, and oh my God, and it's coming. So I'm patient.
It's on the ice cream, yeah.
But there's the drive-through truthers, right? They, well, I want this now, because that's the way we've been conditioned. If we weren't, we wouldn't have drive-throughs. Okay?
And when the program breaks, it's you can do two things. Try and rebuild the program in a less harmful way, or just stop the harm. Because for me, the responsibility of becoming more and more awake on certain areas aware, it's a nicer word, is that if I do see someone harming someone else, I will do anything in my power to stop the harm from happening. That is just part of this natural law deal for me. If I see a child being harmed, I will stop you. I will flatten you if I have to, but I will reason first. And I will warn you just before I start the flattening process. But I will stop the harm, because what I can't do is be aware of it and look away, because how do you explain that to the child?
Well, yeah, there's the magic. There's where I know that people like Bhindi and myself, we're walking walls, baby. You don't get past me. You don't get past me.
Yep.
And it's that pillar of truth that makes systems buckle. I know I've done it many times.
Yeah. I'm a Louisville Slugger.
Well, that's it. Louisville Slugger, and I paint my universe pink. It's aluminum. Pink, 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 out of my way.
I got the wooden thing. Cracked skulls, duck. Yeah, but I'll pull it through to the physical if I have to. Because I have stopped people abusing someone else. As a child, I've stopped somebody abusing me. I got a stick and I whacked this idiot to kingdom come. 7-year-old whacked him blue. I knew exactly where to hit, and I would do it again. And I taught other children to do it as well, to not lay down and think we've got secrets with adults. Whack them. Scream. Make it transparent. Show the world. Don't let them get away with it. And that's empowered more than helping poor little abused children to feel special because they're a victim. So I don't say teach the victim to be stronger. I also tell the person that is wrong to stop. Because you can empower the victim, but you also have to help the other person to stop and to look at what they're doing. Because harm is something you can learn from, but not indefinite. But I'm trying to create a world where we can look each other in the eye and say, yes, I've learned a deep lesson, but I didn't have to die inside first to do it. I do not believe that suffering is the only way to learn things. I think that is part of the brainwash, mind control shit too.
I have to agree with you on that one because I had not been introduced to suffering or pain or any of the stories that I've heard since I came to the South. Like I have said, I'm from the Midwest, and it's a grand, big difference. I mean, play children. I was a child in the Midwest, so everything is like living in Disney World or Six Flags because of the adults. It was the adults that made life so pleasant for the children, that they showed caring and they showed sharing. And if there were problems, I'm sure, between adults of different races and colors, but children, I never knew it.
Right, and all of this boils down to, I'm going to close off here. I got to get something to eat. All it boils down to is the energy. What is out of balance, and where are you in the game? More importantly, why are you where you are in the game? And that is to bring that energy to help bring other energies around you into balance. That is our collective role here, individually and collectively. And it's a very simple game. Are you willing to work for all? Or is it all about you? See, here's the irony of that same statement. It's a paradox. It is all about you. When you serve the all, and you are in the center of that hurricane, in the center of that creation, what part of all aren't you? Duh.
Yep.
Like that's a capital Homer Simpson. Duh.
All for one. All for all.
Well, that's the game, right? And then look what happens when you put yourself in the center of the universe, creating for all. Where are you? Oh my God, you're in the center of the universe. And all things going out, all things coming in. And to the degree that you can take responsibility and lose the obligation, the universe will take care of it accordingly. I have not a fucking care in the world. You know?
Yeah, I agree. I'm the same way. This is cheerful. Look for every day. This is play out. This is like being at the playground right here. 7 o'clock every evening, I'm going to the playground. If I don't get to play with anybody else, I'm going over to Kate's house at 7 o'clock, and this is just like sitting in the living room at Kate's house, eating up her goodies, whatever they are. Oh, my goodness. Give me those cucumbers and celery sticks, Kate.
And here's the only question I'm going to ask you. What have I obligated you to by being here?
Nothing.
Being a movie star, I got to be in your movie. I have to live up in order to make my new friend happy. I got to be in your movie. I can't disappoint you.
And you won't. And I won't disappoint you. So what we're doing now is co-creating. You see, when I put out to the all in terms of empowerment from the center of my universe, when people get the empowerment and the knowledge and the understanding and the peace of mind, that creates ripples throughout the universe that connect. And when we get there, well, gosh darn, I am selfishly helping myself while I am selflessly helping myself by helping and putting out. Now, remember this. This is a very critical point. When you help someone, this is one wish grant, okay? This is not, here's your fish, and by the way, I'll have the same thing tomorrow, and you don't have to do a fucking thing for it. I am hurting you to a level spiritually that is killing you spiritually. This is Mama Bird saying, there's a worm, okay, you good? You good? You got your wings? Now get the fuck out.
You're shitting all over the place, yeah.
Either jump or fly.
Well, that's it, you know. And how many people do you know that wait for the next fish, like a sea, or better yet, a little baby robin sitting in a nest with their fucking gullet open? Feed me. And of course, those little birds, they'll eat anything, just like a sea gull. That's what a gull is, gullet. Jesus, Lord Thunder, that boy eats like a gull. Yeah, he does. You know?
That's like the word joke, and I said, we fuck sigils, and said, yeah, well, if you read it differently, you fuck seagulls. Like, oh, no.
See, totally. It's all in the sound, right?
Yeah.
And Lee gulls. Now, Lee, of course, is le in French, which is theos, God. You're God gulls. Who are you feeding? Ain't you?
By the way, The Dutch word for spring is spring as well, but it also means jump.
Okay. Go figure. It means the same thing in English too.
Oh.
All right.
Spring. Yeah.
All right, Elvita, I'm going to bring you in, and this will be the last one for the night, then I'm taking off. You guys will keep me going for another 45. I know you guys. I love you too much.
Good evening, everyone.
Elvita, baby, love.
Yes, I'm just sitting back enjoying y'all having me cracking up over here.
Good.
At Kate's table. Yes, nice, great show.
Yes, it is the Spirit of Love table. That's why it's yours, right?
Yeah.
You're all cogs in the wheel. I'm just an allegory for you. You're cogs in the machine. You're your own Kate of Spirit of Love of Ultraviolet Gaia. This is what we all are, and I'm just an allegory. I'm just that nagging little bitch in the back of your mind saying, "Wake up, you're God. Hello, hello, McFly."
All right, I fucking did it. Come on.
I always say to myself, Kate must be tired as hell because she always running around in people's mind all goddamn day. Like, sit your ass down.
Yeah, like a mouse in a wheel running in your head.
I got to tell you, what does surprise me, and I wonder why I'm so tired when I get up every time, is I get feedback typically every day of, "Oh, you were in so and so, you were in my dream last night, or you were in so and so's dream." I said, "Fuck me, why can't I just sit down?" You know.
Most activities that you like. Me too.
Yeah, like she was, but I don't remember because I'm every. Oh my God, talk about spreading it thin. But it's all good. It's all fun. Yeah, it shows that we're all connecting, and that's what matters.
I know. I tried to pass you off a couple times on somebody. I'm like, Steve, somebody, Janet, Barbara, somebody take her. Come on. Could y'all babysit, make her sit down, put her in time out or something.
Yeah, it really is funny when we sit back and have a really good look and a really good laugh at ourselves, and that's what it takes. Look at those things that fires your ego up to that and have a look at it from a candid camera perspective of you just got, and then you'll start laughing at it, going, "Oh my God, I bit that hook again. No problem, Charlie. You're a can of tuna now."
That eventually evolves to getting the giggles about nothing. It's awesome.
It is. It's freaking amazing, And all I can tell you is this: you are all God. Your cab driver's waiting. James is saying, "Where would you like to go?" And you're saying, "Well, I want to go to this beautiful, impossible dream that I have." Okay, no problem. I'll get you there.
I'm just going to kick James out of the car and drive myself. Thanks.
Well, you see, that's the thing, and I can prove this literally in the physical sense. It's so easy. Have you ever found yourself miles down a road you've been driving on and haven't remembered a bit of where you came from? Right. You know what that is? That's because you're busy being the child and God's driving. You're on autopilot.
That's right brain flight mode. Yep.
And I'll tell you, not once has that ever created a problem for you. The only time you get problems is when you're going, "Oh, I got to get to work yet, I got to do this," and then you start stressing, and then you're telling the cab driver, "Turn your on them," bam, there it is.
Yep. Let's say full speed, right?
Exactly. And on that, you remember the old saying, "Oh, Jesus is my co-pilot." Fuck that. I'm sitting in the right seat. That mofo can do the flying.
I like that chauffeur ride too, Kate. I like sitting in the back telling James, "Take me home." I like that. That is a very, very good analysis. James, please take me home. Your house is all right. I don't necessarily have to go home, James.
Yeah,
we can go to your comedy if we're not doing anything tonight.
Here.
And by Janet, by the way.
Well, here's a closing note for you guys, okay? Really, really simply put. Next time you see this, and you will see it, it'll make you laugh, or you hear anyone say, "Jesus is my co-pilot," I should get a T-shirt made up. Jesus is my co-pilot because I can fly way better than that motherfucker. Apparently.
Fuck off.
That's good. How about close to come
I love you guys.
Well, think about how many people you know that. Well, Jesus is my co-pilot. What? Yeah. What, you like crashing? Why don't you give it to the pilot? You sit in the right seat, in the right mind, and let a real pilot do the flying for you, because that's who you are. You are that. The je suis, the I am. Jesus, I am. Right?
Yeah.
So get out of the left seat, right? Thinking that you can steer this cab and do it. Look at the kind of mess we've been doing for ourselves. And here's the magic point. When you get this, then piece of cake, man. I'm going to sit over here, and I'm just going to enjoy the show, and I'm going to be part of this creation. I'm not going to defy natural order any longer, because Mother Nature is a serial killer. And she'll take out the bullshit, right? You messing with Mother Nature again? There's a storm for you. Hey, how about a tornado? Let's throw that through a trailer park.
Yeah.
Well, you know how to find a tornado, right? Buy a trailer. It's easy.
There you go.
Well, Kate, did you play hide and go seek when you was a child? Anybody did they play hide and go seek? What was the song that you sang? What was the song that you sang for the other children to go and hide? Was it night before?
No, we didn't sing. We just said, all right, guys, 100 count backwards, and then it was as soon as you couldn't find everybody, ollie, 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 come free, I'm a loser. I couldn't find you.
And count the person that's counting, and then you're a host free.
Oh, yes, I got you free.
Saying ollie, ollie, oxen free.
That's what we said too.
You never heard this one. Last night before, 24 robbers at my door. I got up, let him in, hit him in the head with a rolling pin. All hid.
Yeah, I hear ya. I have heard that one before.
Yeah, okay.
Now, hey, tell you what. Here's your assignment tonight for homework, boys and girls. Project due tomorrow. Have a look at the little sayings we had as kids, and look at why we said them from the mystical anagogic perspective. What were you really saying as children? And you will amaze yourself with all of these things.
All right.
This is one. When I was married, my husband talked about me so bad. He told me all type of traps, which that was a compliment to me because I've always wanted to be the lady and the lady and the trap. Well, I didn't know that the trap was a man at first. I thought the trap was a dog, but then I know they had called it the lady the trap, but the trap had the better name than lady. So I would tell him as we would play the girls, like the ring around the rosy, we would get in a circle. So he said, "Oh, my sisters used to play that." I said, "Oh, did they play this one? Put your foot on the rock, and let the boy feel your cock. And if that don't do, let him stick it on through." Oh, you ain't nothing but a little whore. He talked about. He said, "Your children were."
Oh man.
Oh, he talked about me so. You played that as a child, we sure did.
Well, that's the game, and guys, it's about getting back there and start looking at the things that we did and why we did them, and you will see with the new awareness why, and it will melt your universe, and it will start showing you that magic, and that's what phonics does. It shows you the magic. It really lays it out because everything weaves into everything, and you start to lose the notion that somehow things are coincidental or not. They're inevitable. What you need to do is accept the inevitability. That's it. It was inevitable that we talked tonight. It wasn't possible. It wasn't impossible. It was inevitable because it happened.
Exactly.
So fair dinkum. Didn't get a chance to do a shout out during the on air, but all good. The intention's there. So thank you, criticalmassradio.co.uk, Paul Giovanni and the crew, and we'll pick it up tomorrow night where we leave off here, as always, with whole new toilet rolls. Watch.
Yep. Sure.
All right, guys.
So
Much love to you, and thank you for being the walls walking through the shit and clearing the way. The stables are getting clear, and it's because of you.
Yeah.
Fair enough?
Take credit. Fair enough.
All right. Well, much love to you guys, and we'll catch you tomorrow night. Happy Sunday night, Monday morning.
All righty.
I love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Right? Because you're using the negative masculine. Well, I'm changing that intent so that I can create without any interference. So they'll switch it back. Now, on the other hand, if it's fixed on the pull from the back side and it's left there, that is a very controlled, ordered way of pulling the toilet paper off, because it doesn't spin the way it does when it hangs over the front. You run into some friction with behind where the roll is hanging and the actual roller that's on itself. And here's the difference. With it hanging over the front, you're going to use two or three times more. That's a fact. If you have to take it slowly and actually make it controlled, you will only take what you need. So, hanging off the front is another indication of somebody being stuck in what they want, especially if they keep changing it to that, versus what someone needs. It's an interplay of energies. Okay, here's another way of putting that. Let's go to the toilet seat. Now, I'm going to give both sides of the equation again, just to show what it is. You know, most guys, when they go to the bathroom, well, if the seat isn't up, they'll lift it up and they'll fucking leave it there, because they're lazy bastards. It's a fact, and I can prove it. It's really, really easy. One, there's a hell of a lot more chaos getting introduced, so it's a very feminine thing to stand and piss. You're introducing chaos everywhere. It's not controlled at all. It splatters and sprays everywhere. Go ahead, ask your wife, your girlfriend, your mother, your sister, cousin, whatever the case may be, and they'll tell you. There's not going to be a whole lot of splashing around underneath the lid and around the edge if you sit down, which is more ordered. It's actually more natural too. Okay, so let's show the energies here. All right, sorry, I'm just drawing a little toilet because I like my cartoons. I like drawing these. Okay, so here we go. So I got my toilet. All right, so we have the seat down. Now the seat down works more beneficially all the time. Because a guy that needs to go and have a dump doesn't have to put the seat down, does he? Because it's already there, so there's no effort there. Bitches and complains because they have to lift the seat up in order to pee. Instead of just doing the same process of, well, drop your pants and sit down, relax, take a load off. What's your hurry?
You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Hey, good evening. Welcome to Outside the Box here on Sunday night. Yeah, tonight we're going to talk about a few different things from very simplistic perspectives to try to really drive these points home. Where do I want to start? Let me see. Many of you have heard me talk. Hi, this is Kate. Yes, for all new listeners. Wow, she's got a really deep voice. Yeah, it's my bedroom voice. Anyway, here we go. You've heard me talk many times, and I have had people, sort of ask me about it. The quad. I speak of the quad a lot, which is the fourfold nature of man. And you'll see it represented in, statues with like eagle head, lion head, et cetera, et cetera. You'll see it in north, south, east, and west. You'll see it in And they call it the news because you knew it for a reason. What's new? You just got to, when? It's the whens. Anyway, what the quad is the fourfold nature. And I use the Phoenician letter, which represents the state of love you need to be in. The T, the capital or capital L, T, with the head bowed. And by that I don't mean surrendered in the way that a physical ego will take it. What it is accepting that you're God. Yeah, that's a tough one to swallow, isn't it? Ego has a hard time with that. That's why it sticks its head up so it can get chopped off all the time. It's called a crucifixion. The fictional cross, right? Crucifixion. The false God, if you will. So when you look at the Greek letter, the Phoenician letter that matches to and corresponds to our capital letter T, you will see a circle with an X in it. Okay? I just like to kind of tilt that around to more vertical to explain this concept. So what I'll get everyone to do this. And it's a lot easier to do it if you draw it. So get your crayons out. We're going to have coloring class again. Remember, don't come to this table without a piece of paper and crayons or pen or whatever you like to work with. Okay, paintbrushes, I don't care, whatever it takes. Because I'll describe things, and if you're drawing them out, now we're playing kindergarten. Now we're playing show and tell, where we get to play. See, here's the difference between being a child and being a grown-up child. Well, a grown-up child, and I'll use an allegory, a grown-up child doesn't have a credit card to go out and buy all the timber to build the coolest playhouse, treehouse. Now, do they? You whiny bitch, because that's what that is. That's the divine, the feminine negative. So, one way serves one, and the other way serves all. So that's a beautiful way to show a polarized perspective. You see, the toilet seat sitting down can be used by all in the same way, whether you're peeing or taking a dump. It's quite simple. You should be drinking your pee anyway, but this is just to make the point. Okay, so here's the thing. Always has to sit down. That's a fact. Well, not necessarily. I mean, I got the visuals, guys. It's all good. But let's look at it from just a very general perspective. Typically, a woman must always sit. It's just the nature of the bits. Okay? So when the boys lift the toilet seat, they're saying, fuck you. I'm going to make you work for it. You see, and a toilet seat is a beautiful example where a toilet seat is not needed. It's an introduction of chaos into regular order. It just depends on your perspective and how selfish you are. Now, any true loving man would always make sure the seat was down and would act accordingly. That's an unconditional thing. Oh, I'm a man, I'm not sitting down to pee. Well, no, you're a fucking pussy then. Because that's a whiny emotional state. So actually you're a woman in that attitude. What, see what I mean? Right? You're playing with the energies, so I'm going to try to show you how to find the crosshairs here. And you can spot these energies with people. The more astute will feel them before they even have to look. And that's kind of the nature of me. I sense energies and I feel them, and I know when things are out of balance and out of whack, right? So here, let's look at it. Typically, at least once a day, a guy has to take a dump. Once a day. So that seat must be down once a day for the guy. What's wrong with the rest of the times? Seems to be okay when you have to have a dump. Oh, that's right. You want to stand up and piss all over the place. Okay, well, there you go. Not only that, you're making more work. Unless you're the one cleaning the toilet, which typically most guys won't. They'd rather let their girls clean up after them. All the little piss spots everywhere. It's hanging off the front. If you look at it, it looks like a 9, doesn't it? It's pretty cool. Well, see, that's consciousness. That's magnetic, divine, feminine source. Remember, electricity is the effect. And what I'm trying to do here is nullify this whole cause-effect magnetic electric thing to bring it back just to plain old source. Magnetic and electric. Okay, so now we have the toilet roll that's hanging off the front. And then you have the other one that's hanging off the back that if you spin it around, it becomes a 6. All right, so try to see these energies. They can be both, either or. Like you'll see all 4 directions when you do it with the 2 of them side by side. But here's the thing: when you're pulling toilet paper off the front, the roll, depending on how hard you pull it, will keep feeding toilet paper, which is a representation of the chaos. So that's feminine, because feminine is chaos. That's the all creative void. I mean, nature, left unchecked, will continually create. And for some people, that's offensive. I'm not sure why, but anyway, that's what nature does. That's natural order. And on the other side, when you have it hanging from the back, you have introduced order, or the masculine. Because if it's hanging off the back, it's now working against itself, so it's much slower, more controlled. You actually have to work. This is why guys hate toilet rolls hanging off the back, because they got to work at it, right? But isn't it funny that that's the masculine? So what they actually prefer is the chaos of the feminine. So you can tell on a toilet roll, and I do it all the time, to see where people's energies are. And I play games all the time with people. If I'm somewhere and I see a toilet roll hung in the same way all the time, I'll flip it over just to see what happens, just to see what kind of an effect I can create. And some people just cannot tolerate that kind of change in the universe. So the next time I go in, oh, look, it's been switched back. It actually takes effort to switch a toilet roll back, a lot more effort than just to use it. But this is how stuck and fixated we as beings get in these energies. So this is about freeing the energy. Now, for me, I don't care what side it's on, because it doesn't matter to me. It's toilet paper. The only time I'd probably be concerned if there wasn't any there, you see. So that's looking into the creation instead of being at constant effect to the gimme world, right? So someone that insists having the toilet roll hanging down on the outside, absolutely insists and keeps changing it back, that is showing their feminine, their negative feminine. So that's just an allegory. Of course, we don't want credit cards and all the rest of that. It's fictional shite. It's just I use it for an example. So just imagine drawing a sniper scope. You know, you've seen them. And above on the left, you're going to write M, which, funny enough, is masculine. Masculine. And, of course, on the other side, we're going to write F, which, of course, is the root note of the heart, the emotion. So in each one of the quadrants, on the F side, you'll do a plus sign in the top one and a minus in the bottom. Same thing with the other side. So what you have is the fourfold nature of man. And the game here is to find yourself in the crosshairs, and it's an energy game. And I'm going to use a couple of examples. My favorite to use has been for a long time, and I think I might have brought it up once or twice on the show. I talk to people about it quite regularly, but I never seem to bring it up. I'm going to bring it up tonight, and I like using a toilet paper roll on the wall and also the toilet seat, because these are things that everyone can relate to, men and women. If you've ever lived with anyone for any length of time, you will have had this debate, I promise. And if you haven't, well, it means you're really well balanced and you let things be and you don't worry about how the toilet roll goes on, and it's not a big deal. But you'd be amazed at how many people make such a big deal out of it. It's one of these nitpicky things that people have. So I just like to nullify it. So now we have our crosshairs. We have our fourfold nature of creation, not man. Man is an effect of creation. So let's go to the source of it. And the source is right in the center of that crosshairs. So now that you've got that drawn, I'm going to go to the toilet paper allegory to show you how these energies work. You're thinking, oh my God, how can someone show that in a toilet roll? Well, okay, draw 2 circles. And imagine, put a wall behind it. Imagine you're hanging a toilet roll on the wall, or draw it. And on the one, you're going to have the toilet roll hanging off the front, and on the other, you're going to have the end of the toilet roll hanging off the back. And you're going to see something really interesting here. Promise. Because the one that's hanging off the front, when you bring it around, it creates a 6. The one that's hanging off the back, when you bring it around, creates a mirrored 6. So it's a dual hex. It's a double cross. But I'm going to show you how to center these energies. And it's so easy. And when you see this, you'll understand it. Okay, now, so let's take the one that the toilet roll